Hey there, Quaver TV viewers. Buckle up, because we're about to dive into a story that's shaking the music industry to its core. On September 16, 2024, Sean Diddy Combs, the hip-hop mogul we've all known for decades, was arrested on charges that sound more like something out of a mafia movie than the music biz. We're talking kidnapping, drug distribution, and human trafficking. Yeah, you heard that right. It's a tale of rags to riches too. Well, we're about to find out. Let's rewind a bit, shall we? Diddy, or Puff Daddy, or P. Diddy, the man with more names than a witness protection program, wasn't always the mogul we know today. Born Sean John Combs in Harlem, New York, back in '69, his story starts with tragedy. His dad, Melvin, was murdered when Sean was just a toddler. Word on the street is that Melvin had ties to Frank Lucas, yeah, the American gangster guy. But it was Diddy's mom, Janice, who steered him towards a different path. Now, picture this, it's 1990, and a young Sean Combs is hustling as an intern at Uptown Records. Can you imagine Diddy fetching coffee? Me neither. But here's the thing, he didn't stay an intern for long. The guy had a knack for spotting talent, and before you knew it, he was an A&R exec, working with folks like Mary J. Blige. Diddy was climbing that ladder faster than a squirrel on espresso. But Diddy had bigger dreams. In '93, he founded Bad Boy Records, and that's when things really took off. He signed Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G., and boom, Bad Boy was the hottest label in hip-hop. Diddy wasn't just making music, he was making culture. He had the Midas touch, turning everything he touched into gold, or platinum, in this case. Fast forward a few years, and Diddy's got his hands in everything. Clothing line, check. Vodka brand, yep. TV network, you bet. The man built an empire that would make luscious Leon jealous. We're talking a net worth that could buy a small country. Sean John, his clothing line, wasn't just threads, it was a lifestyle. And Ciroc, well, let's just say Diddy made vodka cool in the hip-hop world. But here's where things get dark, folks. Behind all the glitz and glamour, there were whispers. Lawsuits started popping up like weeds. Ex-employees, former artists, even ex-girlfriends, they all had stories to tell, and none of them were pretty. We're talking allegations of assault, sexual harassment, abuse, the works. It was like a storm brewing on the horizon, and Diddy was standing on the beach, pretending it was just a few clouds. Remember that nightclub incident back in '99? Diddy was hit with assault charges, but he walked away scot-free. It was like a magic trick, now you see the charges, now you don't. But that was just the beginning. Over the years, more and more people came forward with stories that would make your skin crawl. And then there's the elephant in the room, or should I say, the two elephants, Tupac and Biggie. Their murders rocked the hip-hop world, and to this day, they remain unsolved. But there's always been talk, you know. Rumors that Diddy might have known more than he let on. Some even say he was involved. Now, let's be clear, there's no solid evidence linking Diddy to either murder. But in this industry, perception is reality, and the perception ain't good. Let's take a moment to talk about what we lost with Tupac and Biggie. These weren't just rappers, folks. They were poets, storytellers, voices of a generation. Tupac was spitting bars about social injustice before it was cool. His albums like All Eyes on Me weren't just music, they were manifestos. And Biggie, man, that flow was smoother than butter on a hot biscuit. Ready to Die is still a masterpiece that'll make your speakers weep. When we lost them, we didn't just lose two artists. We lost two visionaries who shaped hip-hop and left us wondering what could have been. Now, speaking of tragic losses, we can't forget about Aaliyah. While there's no direct link between Diddy and her death, some folks have raised eyebrows about the connections in the industry. Aaliyah was a rising star, a triple threat, singer, dancer, actress. She was poised to take over the world when that plane went down in 2001. It's another reminder of how fragile life is in this game, and how tangled the web of relationships can be in the music biz. But let's get back to Diddy, because things are about to go from bad to worse. On September 16, 2024, the feds came knocking. And they weren't there to party. Diddy was arrested at the Park Hyatt Hotel in Manhattan, where he'd been staying for the past 2 weeks. Turns out, he knew the storm was coming and tried to batten down the hatches in the Big Apple. Now, the charges. Buckle up, because this is where it gets wild. We're talking racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. It's like the feds are painting a picture of Diddy as some kind of hip-hop Epstein. They're saying he used his fame and influence to lure in young artists and models, promising them the world, only to allegedly drug them and exploit them. We're talking about crossing state lines for what they're calling unwilling sex parties. It's heavy stuff, folks. The indictment reads like a script for a crime drama. It alleges that from 2008 to the present, Diddy and his crew were running a full-blown criminal enterprise. We're talking sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for prostitution, drug offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, the works. It's like they were playing crime bingo and trying to hit every square on the board. Let's break it down a bit. The feds are saying Diddy's enterprise was all about preserving his power in the entertainment world and satisfying his personal desires. Those infamous, freak-off parties. The indictment describes them as elaborate and produced sex performances that Diddy allegedly arranged, directed, and, well, let's just say he was very hands-on, if you catch my drift. But it gets worse. The indictment talks about violent acts against women, striking, punching, dragging, kicking, throwing objects. It's like reading a horror story, but the monsters are real people in positions of power. And then there's the drugs. We're not talking about a little weed here and there. The indictment lists cocaine, oxycodone, Xanax, GHB, yeah, the date rape drug MDMA, and ketamine. It's like a pharmacist's nightmare. When the feds raided Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami, they didn't just find a few incriminating items. They hit the motherlode. We're talking drugs, firearms, and get this, more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. I don't even want to know what that was for, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't for a squeaky door hinge convention. Now, Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, is putting on a brave face. He's saying Diddy will plead not guilty and that he'll fight like hell to get him out of custody. But let's be real, with charges this serious, it's going to be an uphill battle. It's like trying to climb Everest in flip-flops. The arrest comes on the heels of a string of lawsuits that have been piling up like dirty laundry. Remember Cassie, Diddy's ex-girlfriend? In November, she dropped a bombshell lawsuit alleging years of beatings and rape. The suit was settled faster than you can say, hush money, but then hotel security footage surfaced showing Diddy punching and kicking Cassie. Oops. Diddy tried to smooth it over with an apology, but by then, the damage was done. And Cassie wasn't alone. We're talking about allegations from all corners. A woman claiming Diddy raped her when she was 17. A music producer saying he was forced to have sex with prostitutes. A college student alleging terrifying sexual encounters. It's like every rock you turn over, there's another accusation crawling out. The victims' stories are heartbreaking, folks. We're talking about people who thought they were getting their big break, only to find themselves in a nightmare. Young artists and models, dreaming of the spotlight, instead finding themselves in the darkest corners of the industry. If these allegations are true, we're looking at decades of abuse, manipulation, and exploitation. It's a stark reminder of the dark underbelly of fame and the price some people are willing to make others pay for their own gratification. Now, let's talk about Diddy's empire, because it's already starting to crumble like a sandcastle at high tide. He stepped down from Revolt, his TV network, faster than you can change the channel. Surrock might be looking for a new face to push their vodka. And Bad Boy Records, well, let's just say it ain't looking too good. It's like watching a game of Jenga, and someone just pulled out the wrong block. This whole situation is forcing the music industry to take a long, hard look in the mirror. How did this allegedly go on for so long? Who knew what, and when? It's like the #MeToo movement is hitting hip-hop, and it's hitting hard. We're seeing a reckoning that's been a long time coming, and Diddy might just be the tip of the iceberg. The big question now is, will Diddy live to see trial? I know it sounds dramatic, but people are making those Epstein comparisons for a reason. There's a lot of powerful people in Diddy's orbit, and who knows what might come out if this goes to court. It's like a game of musical chairs, but instead of music stopping, its reputation's on the line. As we wait for this story to unfold, there are more questions than answers. Will more victims come forward? Will others in the industry be implicated? And will Diddy face justice, or will he somehow slip through the cracks like a greased-up eel? It's like we're all watching a high-stakes poker game, and Diddy's just gone all in. One thing's for sure, the hip-hop world will never be the same. Diddy's story is a cautionary tale about power, influence, and what happens when no one's watching the watchmen. It's a reminder that our idols have feet of clay, and sometimes, those feet are knee-deep in mud. But let's not forget the bigger picture here. This isn't just about Diddy. It's about an industry that's been plagued by exploitation, misogyny, and abuse for far too long. It's about the countless victims who've been silenced, the careers that have been derailed, and the lives that have been shattered. It's about the culture of impunity that's allowed powerful men to act with seeming immunity for decades. As we process this news, we need to think about how we, as consumers of music and culture, can demand better. How can we support artists and industry professionals who are trying to change the game for the better? How can we create a culture where exploitation isn't just frowned upon, but actively rooted out and punished? And let's talk about the artists for a second. The ones who are just starting out, with stars in their eyes and dreams of making it big. How do we protect them? How do we create an industry where talent and hard work are what matter, not who you know or what you're willing to do to get ahead? It's a tall order, but if this Diddy situation teaches us anything, it's that the status quo ain't cutting it anymore. Now, I know some of y'all might be thinking, but what about the music? What about all the good Diddy's done for hip-hop? And you're not wrong to ask that. Diddy's impact on the culture is undeniable. He helped shape the sound and style of a generation. He gave us hits that still get the party jumping. He opened doors for a lot of artists who might not have had a shot otherwise. But here's the thing, we've got to separate the art from the artist. And more importantly, we've got to decide where we draw the line. At what point do the allegations become too much? At what point do we say, nah, this ain't it? It's a conversation we need to have, not just about Diddy, but about all the problematic faves we've been giving passes to for years. As we wrap up this special report, let's take a moment to think about the future of hip-hop and the music industry as a whole. This Diddy situation could be a turning point. It could be the moment when we finally say enough is enough. When we demand transparency, accountability, and real change. Or it could be another scandal that blows over, another news cycle that fades away, leaving nothing but broken promises and shattered lives in its wake. The choice, in a way, is up to us. As fans, as consumers, as human beings who care about justice and dignity for all. So what's it gonna be, folks? Are we gonna keep bumping to the beat while ignoring the ugliness behind the scenes? Or are we gonna stand up and demand better? Are we gonna support the artists and industry professionals who are trying to do right, who are building a better, safer, more equitable music world? As for Diddy, well, his fate is in the hands of the justice system now. But regardless of how his case turns out, one thing's for sure, the conversation ain't over. The genie's out of the bottle, and there's no putting it back in. So keep your eyes on Quaver TV, because you know we'll be following every twist and turn in this saga. From intern to mogul to, well, we'll see. This story's far from over, and something tells me we're just getting to the good part. Or the bad part, depending on how you look at it. Remember, folks, in the world of hip-hop, the beat might go on, but the times, they are a-chongin'. And it's about damn time. This is Quaver TV, signing off on the biggest story we've ever covered. Stay tuned, stay woke, and most importantly, stay true to yourself. Peace out.